Hello, everybody. Welcome to Just for Women Africa. My name is Ololeko. I'm also the founder of Just for Women Africa. And today we have the privilege of having in house with us Beverly. Beverly works with the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office in the UK, the Foreign Office of the UK. And we have the privilege of having her here with us. So we talk to us about her experience being a diplomat, what it's like being in the Foreign Service, and of course anything that comes up during the conversation. So stick around and we'll be right back. Hey everybody, welcome back to Just Women Africa, and we have with us Beverly. Beverly, welcome to Just Women Africa.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Nice. Thank you for honoring our invitation.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, Beverly, you've been working in the Foreign Service for a couple of years, over a decade. Could you first tell us, how did you get into the Foreign Service?
It's quite an interesting story. First of all, thanks for having me. It's really a privilege to be on your channel. How did I begin? It's a long story. Do you want a long or the short story?
Let's start with the short story. The short story is always like...
All right, the short story in a nutshell is it was in 2008. I had my daughter, and prior to having her, I had done a master's in international relations, completely enjoyed it. This was obviously after my first degree, which was in law and accountancy, which was very staccato. It was very much English law, this is how it is, statutes and laws, and that's how you kind of prove your case. But international relations was really about thought and arguing your point of view, influence as well. And I completely enjoyed my master's degree. You had people from all around the world. I did it at London Metropolitan University. So people from all around the world, from Panama to Bangladesh, New Zealand to Jamaica, everybody had a different perspective and was pushing for that when we had like discussions during class. So I really enjoyed that aspect of, discussions. So coupled with traveling as a child, I decided that that was the kind of career I wanted. But as I said, I had my daughter. I came back into my role, and which wasn't in the Foreign Office, it was a policy role. And I thought my life was over. I actually thought, this is it. I've had my daughter, who's going to want to kind of employ someone to be traveling around the world, But this is where the power of mentorship comes in. I had a fantastic mentor, and he just said to me, Beverly, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I want to do business, and I want to be paid to travel. And he was like, oh, you should become a diplomat. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you should become a diplomat. I was like, oh, don't be silly. Diplomats don't look like me. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, no. I said, they look like 007. They don't look like me. And he was like, no, Beverly, don't be silly. You definitely can be a diplomat. If that's what you want to do, you've got the backing of your career and your academic achievements. You can do this so long as you believe in yourself. I said, all right, okay, let's give it a shot. And he basically put me in positions that exposed me to international working. And that's how my journey started.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So basically, having a mentor is very, very important as a child.
Absolutely. And this was when I was in my 20s, and it wasn't like, I'm going to be your mentor. It was just a conversation between somebody who was more experienced than I was, somebody who was used to traveling, who had done what I wanted to do. And we struck up a relationship in the sense that every week we'd have lunch. I'd run through what I'd done for the week, some of my achievements, some of the things that I thought I could do better. He would challenge me in certain areas. And we just developed a relationship like that because we worked in the same organization and kind of in the same team. He was able to kind of say, Beverly, I think you should lead in this area and push me in directions that will develop that credibility and experience of working internationally.
Okay. Did you have to learn a second language? Because mostly here, when you're in the Foreign Service, or what you were told is, to be able to work in the Foreign Service, to get ahead in your career, you need to speak multiple languages.
Yeah.
So did you have to learn another language?
I didn't. Fortunately, I didn't. But it's definitely an advantage too, because it limits where you can go if you don't have a second language. Although they do provide language training, but it's very intense. And if you're someone who doesn't like different languages, like myself, then you're going to have to, you might struggle, But they do provide language training, but you have to be very committed to it. And if you don't hit the mark by a certain date, then you can't do your posting.
Okay.
Yeah, so languages are fantastic, but you're not at a disadvantage. You just have to stick to postings that are English speaking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I did forget to mention, Beverly's here unofficially. She's not here officially from the Foreign Office, the High Commission here in Ghana. So certain questions I cannot ask because she refuse to answer.
Yeah.
They should definitely give me a no comment answer. Okay, so so when you said you've been in the Foreign Service, how many countries have you worked out so far?
In terms of being posted?
In terms of being posted, yeah.
Being posted, this is my second country.
Second country?
Yeah.
What is your first country?
Nigeria.
Okay. I'm smiling because, that's where I'm from. But tell us about your experience in Nigeria.
Oh, Nigeria was just fantastic. I love Nigeria. I always say being in Nigeria is like being at home because my dad is Nigerian, so it was just it felt like being amongst family and friends. But more importantly, what I found amazing and really invigorating about Nigeria is that no 2 days are the same. You wake up and you just have that zest for life. Mm-hmm. Because everybody's hustling, everyone's doing something different, mm-hmm. And you need to be very switched on to be able to work according to the grain. If you just relying on what happened yesterday, you're not going to get anywhere. Mm-hmm. So every day you wake up alive, knowing that I have to bring my A game. And it was fantastic for myself. Some people struggled with that. I do have colleagues who just did not like the consistency, mm-hmm. the lack of consistency rather. In the UK, you can be waiting for a train, it's coming in 2 minutes. You get there on Tuesday, again, the same train is going to be there in 2 minutes, But in Nigeria, it's not like that. And so some people struggle with that inconsistency. But I love that. I love the entrepreneurial spirit. I love the people. I love the food. It was just an environment that anything can happen and you just need to make it happen. So fantastic experience.
Of course, you have the Nigerian blood in you, so it was easy for you.
Well, you say that, but having the Nigerian blood in you can have pluses and minuses. Mm-hmm. Pluses, yes, people think, oh, you're my brother, you're my sister. Minuses would kind of be like, oh, but you didn't grow up here. You're young. So you need to respect your elders. And some of the cultural norms, that are quite in depth, you really need to, they would expect you to adhere to that, but obviously when you're coming as a diplomat, there might be certain things you can't do, mm-hmm. Even though that's the cultural norm and the expectation, so it's getting that balance right.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk more about being in the Foreign Service. Do they get to pick the country you go to, or you get to pick the country?
You pick the country you want to go to.
Okay.
Yeah, you pick the country.
So in that instance, you picked Nigeria.
Yeah. So it's an application. You have to apply. You have to be selected.
Okay.
To go through it. Yeah.
And what's the duration in each country? I don't know about the UK, but here in Ghana, it's 4 years, I think.
Yeah, it's 4 years, about 3 to 4 years.
3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
So after the 4 years, you go back for another 4 years and you're posted to another country after 4 years.
Correct, yeah.
Really? Okay, that's nice. So which country would you love to go to after? I mean, you're currently here in Ghana, so what's the next country?
Everyone asks that, where would I like to go? I think I'd like to try a developed economy, so I'd like to try the Emirates, mm-hmm. Just different culture. Different people, like to try my hands there. I'd also like to try perhaps Asia mm-hmm. as well. Somewhere a bit out of my comfort zone. Mm-hmm. I'd like to try, and somewhere with very strong culture mm-hmm. as well. I think it's quite appealing to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. About the French, so basically you're a diplomat here. Does the High Commission know where you are all the time?
No, I think she has too many things to do to know where Beverly is all the time. No. I mean, what would you mean in terms of knowing what I'm doing? Or?
No, like for instance, if you're going to Cape Coast tomorrow, or you're going to Tamale tomorrow, either for a personal trip, do they have to know?
No. It wouldn't be the High Commission. It would be like our security would want to kind of, mm-hmm. just check in with them. that kind of thing, yes.
Okay. There was an issue. They would send, is it the Marines over and take you out?
I don't know about the Marines, but yes, we do have, security that makes sure we're safe all the time.
You're safe all the time?
Yeah.
So, hypothetically, if I was with you, let's say, somewhere in Ghana, and there was a security issue, they'll come and take you out and leave you behind.
I don't think so. But yeah, security would want to help us out, yes.
Okay, so let's talk about having a diplomatic immunity. Have you ever been in a situation where you had to go like, my guy, you cannot harass me, I'm a diplomat, have diplomatic immunity. You cannot shakara me.
The beautiful thing about it is, treat people how you want to be treated.
Okay.
So if you're given respect, people give you respect back. So I've never had to kind of rely on that diplomatic kind of immunity thing. And because people know you're a diplomat anyway, like how we have the diplomatic plates, particularly on our cards, people know, right? But I don't think anyone kind of cares. It's really about how you just treat people, honestly. They might recognize, oh yeah, you're a diplomat, oh yeah, okay, cool. After that, we're doing what we have to do. Yeah.
Okay. That's fun. Okay, so can you tell us what's it been like working currently in Ghana? I know it's a different vibe from Nigeria. What is it like? Of course, are the people the same? Do they treat you the same way like they treat you in Nigeria? Or, something else?
Yeah, the culture is different in Ghana, right? Ghana is a beautiful country like Nigeria, and the people are beautiful as well and very welcoming. They talk about the Ghanaian welcome. I guess the two countries are different. First of all, Nigeria is huge. Huge country. Ghana, I was talking to someone yesterday and saying, the size of Lagos, is about roughly the size of the whole of Ghana, right? And that's just one state, So if you can't kind of compare or like that, though a lot of people like to do it. So the size is different, the economic trajectory is different as well. What Ghana is pushing forward, and what you might call Ghana's main export is different from Nigeria's as well. There's so many differences. The political setup is different. How you do elections, it's different. There are a number of differences here, and I guess my role is how you navigate these differences, and achieve collaboration.
Okay. Right. If you're not a diplomat working with the Foreign Service, what do you think you would have been doing?
That's a good question. I think I would have been an entrepreneur.
Doing what?
Yeah, I think I would have had a marketing company.
Okay.
Yeah, marketing company and a dance company. Yeah.
Oh, dance.
Yeah, dance and creative arts, maybe theatre as well. Yeah.
Okay.
I just feel like those areas are a way you transcend culture. Every time we have visitors coming in from different countries, and we're hosting, everybody wants to go to a local show. Everybody wants to go to a band and see how people express themselves. It's always a key part of our visit plans, and I just think it's a way to communicate. If you look at the rise of Afrobeat, for example, that is transcending. It's one of the biggest exports ever, for Africa. So it's something that I think we, particularly in Africa, haven't realized the value of it. And the minute that people start waking up even more, we started, but I think there's a lot more we can do. Realize the value of culture and expressing that culture is invaluable. If you look at what America's celebrating 50 years of hip hop. Now it's basically, transformed the way we think about music. You can't have 10 songs played on the radio without one hip hop song. So it's really impactful. So I'd love to play a role in that.
Okay. Should we assume you're a good dancer?
Behind the camera. Hi, the camera.
Okay. All right. That's nice to know. Okay, so being in the foreign service, I mean, you worked in Nigeria, you worked in Ghana, you look forward to working in the United Emirates and all. What do you think? There's this sense about people in Africa. There's a word out from Nigeria called Japa. Everybody wants to Japa, everybody wants to move out of the country, wants to go to the UK or America or somewhere. What's your opinion about that?
What a good question. I guess there are two ways to answer that, right? You come to the UK and I think the attraction is the exchange rates, you understand? You know, everybody's thinking, for £1 I can get this amount of cedis or this amount of naira. Okay, you have that. But the kind of work you have to do and doing everything for yourself as well, it's a thing. You know, one thing we have in Africa is that sense of community, sense of you are my brother's keeper or I am my brother's keeper, which I think is huge. In the UK, we have that, but less so, in the sense that everything is moving towards being automated and doing it yourself. So you will go to the supermarket, you will check out yourself, you will get your own bag, you know, get your own car. Everything is me. You know, so it can be quite difficult, particularly, let's say if you have kids, you know, you have a family, you don't have anyone to rely on, you know, in that sense to kind of help out because your family are busy doing their own, looking after themselves. So you then have to pay for somebody to look after the kids or something. Whereas in Africa, you can just drop them at a cousin's house, a friend's house, and it's acceptable. They won't be able to say, okay, so what time are you coming? You know, it's just like, okay, well, she'll be back at some time in the evening and it's fine, you know. So knowing that you have to pay for everything in Africa, make sure, in the UK, make sure you have that money to do that. When you're Japari, make sure you have the money to kind of support that lifestyle. You know, if you're staying, the way I look at it is make Africa how you want it to be made. I know it's difficult, you understand, but the way I see it is Africans' problems. So if you're in Africa, it's your problem. Be part of the solution and not the problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in other words, you don't encourage people to japa out of Africa, go to Europe, just be part of the problem and try to solve it.
I think so. I think, you know, you can japa out. I don't think there's anything with going for a bit, you know, and coming back. But I do think come back. You understand? Because if you don't, who will? Who will make Africa what Africa should be? You know? And that's a rhetorical question. If Africans don't do it, then who does it? You know? And if somebody else does it, we will like it, you know, criticize it. So yeah, definitely go out, get experience, you know, get education, get exposure, definitely. But I do think there should always be a hand back, you know, and I think that's perhaps why many of my postings have been in Africa, you know, because I want to be part of that solution. Yeah.
I like that, being part of the solution in Africa. Okay, so viewers who are watching, we'll be right back. When we come back, we'll talk to Beverly about her job here at the High Commission and exactly what she does. So stick around and we'll be right back. Okay, everybody, welcome back to Just for Women Africa with half of Beverly. Hi, Beverly. Having worked with the Foreign Office for about a decade, you're now based in Ghana. Could you tell us exactly what you do actually do at the High Commission?
Okay, so my role at the moment is that as a climate attaché, you know, so that's basically supporting Ghana to achieve its climate goals. And that could be in the area of basically energy efficiency. That could be one thing, you know, so how do we use or make sure the mix of energy use includes renewable energy? It could be things like electric vehicles, you know, so how can we start using electric vehicles here in Ghana? In fact, we are already using electric vehicles in Ghana, but how can we basically build that infrastructure to make sure that more people, you know, take advantage of that? So those are some of the examples. We get involved at the policy level, you know, so getting that political commitment in place first and then getting involved in the actual delivery of that, with development funding and stimulating entrepreneurship as well. Mm-hmm. I also lead on science, tech and innovation policy at the High Commission, and that's basically all about encouraging more science, tech and innovation activity in Ghana in such that it will influence policy and also be able to scale and impact Ghana.
All right. In terms of renewable energy, how far is Ghana? Does Ghana have the infrastructure in place for renewable energy, having electric cars on the road in the future?
Yeah, I mean, Ghana definitely has the ability to do that. And it does have it in its energy mix as well. Whether Ghana wants to increase it more, that might be something that, can be considered. Whether people know how to actually deploy renewable energy into their homes and their offices, that's another question. So there are things that we can do, to ensure that we raise awareness about renewable energy and its benefits in Ghana. So it's not always just a government thing, it's also an implementation thing as well.
Okay. And in terms of tech, how far is Ghana off?
Ghana's doing amazingly well. There's so much tech and innovation, happening in Ghana. Every day we see something new. I think what I'd love to see more is raising awareness of the activities. Ghana is a very young country, so you go to many universities and you see all these amazing creations, that have been done, but they're not being able to be brought to market because there is no kind of transition to support their activity, and there is a lot of activity. So it's how do we kind of support to make sure there is more of that support activity to get more of these innovations out into the market and impacting lives. And that's a space that I'm quite passionate about. There are some initiatives that are doing so, government's obviously doing some things around that area, but there's a lot more that can be done.
Okay. You did mention that, there are a lot of, people out there, creatives, but, there's not that awareness out there. Why do you think there's not so much awareness of, creative stuff like that in terms of technology and other things, in Ghana and Africa?
I think maybe it might just be the infrastructure, the system that surrounds the development of these products and services. Very much in the UK, there's like that infrastructure that encourages, and nurtures that development. In every borough, you'll see something on entrepreneurship, on enterprise support, and so on. So it's very much in people's kind of DNA that I can get support, whether they choose to or not, that's a different thing. See, the UK has a different problem because everything is almost done, so no one really needs to innovate. So the government is trying to encourage people, like, look, entrepreneurship is, whereas here, everything is not done, but there's a lot more the government can do. There's a lot more, individuals and association churches, mosques as well can do to encourage and invest in entrepreneurs in Ghana. So it's a different kind of way of looking at it. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. All right. As we round up the interview, this is Just for Women in Africa. What's your advice to women out there who feel it's a man's world? They get sexually harassed by the men. They don't have enough money to start their own business, go into the entrepreneurial field. And of course, they want to be a diplomat like you, work in a high commission. What's your advice to them?
Hard work. It's real hard work. We need to be each other's keepers, right? And I don't just think it's women looking after women, but it's also men as well. So not all men obviously harass women and make it difficult for women. Sometimes women can make it difficult for women as well. So I think I'd like to answer that question by saying we need to think a bit more holistically. We're all human beings and we all want to be loved and respected. So I think for women, the advice I would give is find your tribe. Find your tribe. Find people who, are like you, people who you aspire to. Like I said, the mentor I had was a man, and he was very kind of open. We didn't agree on everything, but we had a healthy debates at some times. and sometimes we agree to disagree. Sometimes I would see his way of reasoning and not agree, and vice versa, you know. But we had that safe space to discuss and, you know, tear apart ideas and, you know, respect each other comfortably. So I think if you can find those types of relationships and invest into them, you'll be definitely on the right track to becoming whoever you want to be.
All right, Beverly, thank you lots for being here with us on Just for Women Africa. We really appreciate it. We look forward to interviewing again in the future.
Thank you. It's been fun. I've really enjoyed this. I hope it's helpful.
Definitely it has been. And to our viewers who are watching, don't forget to like, subscribe, tell a friend who knows a friend about Just for Women Africa. And to the next show from Beverly and I, it will be.
Hi.